What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters? I'm One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Walking Dead Dead City Season 1, Episode 4, titled Everybody Wins a Prize. So obviously spoiler warning for the episode, but overall it's another good episode. It's only about 39, maybe 40 minutes long, so it's on the shorter side, but we get to see a familiar face, which is awesome. Now, we knew what happened, or was going to happen, and it does. This is the episode it happens in. We start with a flashback of Negan at the sanctuary. He's got a plethora of food, living like a king as the Negan of the sanctuary, of the leader of the saviors. You see Lucille, and he's writing stuff down. And it's interesting because he draws a picture of putting dead pricks, so dead people of the sanctuary, and Simon actually becomes one of those, and that's who we see in the episode. So Negan gets a knock at the door, the person comes in, and it's the one, the only Stephen Ogg who plays Simon, and it's awesome. And I have to say, Stephen Ogg's only in the episode for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes at most, but he steals the show. No, it's just a good thing to see Stephen Ogg as Simon, and he comes in to tell Negan, we got a problem. So, yeah, Negan, Simon, the Croat, we have a flashback scene, and it's cool, and it's basically the scene that we saw or heard that Negan told Maggie about, that Negan found the Croat, killed this spy for the kingdom. It's a kid, and we get to see it play out a little bit. So, Simon and Negan go down the hallway. They find what the Croat did. We see that he killed this woman, or girl, and basically tortures her, kind of what he's doing with the people that we saw in Dead City. We haven't seen Herschel, so do you think Herschel's alive or dead? It'd be pretty crappy if he died off screen or he's a walker or something there, but we actually get to see a person that's tied up from the Croat that is a walker. That's not Herschel, but it kind of looks like him. Kind of the mystery thing going on here. But Simon versus the Croat, that would have been cool to see, but they do not like each other. And the Croat doesn't understand what the problem is. In his mind, he was just getting information. He has no problem with torturing or doing what he does to get answers. In his mind, he did something good. And in Negan and Simon's eyes, it's like, come on, man, you don't do this. Simon even says, we don't do that to kids. Kids are off the table. You don't mess with kids. But they kind of killed people from the kingdom and Oceanside. So I don't know if it fits, but either way, it is what it is, and it's cool to see Simon. And that's the scene we get to see that Negan told Maggie, and we see it in a flashback sequence, and it's pretty awesome. The rest of the episode is okay. I mean, they go to Madison Square Garden. Well, it's supposed to be. They filmed in Jersey. It wasn't actually MSG. But they talk about the plan. Negan talks about his hand, says it's okay. And we know that Negan killed Luther last episode. So I guess he hid the body because they can't find Luther. Tommaso says, did he leave? Amaya can't find him anywhere. Maggie's like, what did you do, Negan? So Maggie doesn't know that Negan killed him, but she knows. Everybody talks about, like, okay, where could he be? Tommaso actually says, like, he's his own guy. He could have went off on his own, done his own thing. Negan actually says that Luther didn't like the plan, so he doesn't lie about anything. He doesn't say that he killed him. This lady's like, yeah, I saw him when I came in. So Maggie knows something's up, but Maggie doesn't know that Negan did it to protect her and him. But Maggie don't care. She sees it as, Negan killed this guy. Oh, he's terrible. But we know that Negan did it because it was Negan or Luther, and Luther was going to want to stop things from happening, and Negan did what he had to do. And Negan hid the body somewhere, so that answered that question. But Maggie, being Maggie, is kind of I like Lauren Cohan, and I like Maggie, but it's just a little annoying with Negan. And it could be far worse, but overall, it's decent. Tommaso says, Luther's his own guy. He could do what he is. Maybe we meet up with him later, even though you're definitely not going to meet up with him. And every second that they wait, the Croat, this psycho, could be preparing for their arrival. Maggie tells Negan a story about when Herschel was young. There was this guy taking up, Amos his name was, from Hilltop, playing the harmonica, because somebody's playing the harmonica in the restaurant. And so Maggie says that she asked the guy to stop playing the harmonica. He doesn't, so she takes it. We see Negan put the beeswax container in his bag, so we know that he has it. Maggie kind of sees Negan do something, but again, Maggie tells the story about she stole the harmonica from Amos because he wouldn't stop playing it because Herschel was 4 or 5 months old. It was annoying, so she stole it and buried it somewhere, and she's kind of like Negan in some way, shape, or form. But we kind of see that Maggie is like Negan and Negan is like Maggie. Maggie would do anything to protect her kids, and so would Negan. So they're kind of similar, and we kind of get to see that here, and they kind of hinted at that throughout the series so far. The CGI of NYC looks amazing every episode. The CGI budget must be through the roof because it looks awesome. I'm glad it looks so great. And again, this is not what New York City looks like. This is CGI. It is not where they filmed. They didn't put up all these props and stuff around the city because they probably couldn't do that. But overall, it looks great. You get to see landmarks of New York City, and we get to see it time and time again. Every episode, it does not disappoint, and that's one of the highlights of the show, that's for sure. And I enjoy the show. But ultimately, these walkers, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walkers. So we get to see these walkers walk pretty quickly through the streets. Are they variants? It doesn't matter because they get to walk through the sidewalk or on the sidewalk, and the door opens before they even get by. So Amaya, Tommaso, Negan, and Maggie go down the subway through there to get to Madison Square Garden. But it's just kind of funny. The walkers aren't even out of frame yet when the door opens. We get to see the methane that's bubbling up from the sewers. All the walkers are down there. There must be like millions of walkers down there then. But they go down the subway, and I don't know where Ginny goes because we see Ginny right here, but I guess she follows them, and we get to see the subway. Basically like The Walking Dead season 11, the first couple episodes. And just like that, these walkers are asleep. They're alive. This walker moves its head a couple times, and I guess these are called lurkers. But they just stay asleep the entire time while the people are stepping over them and walking over them throughout the subway, train tracks, and they get to Penn Station and they get to MSG and they go inside. But it's just kind of laughable. Negan and Maggie go into this building with everybody else. They find a person that's tied up. It looks a lot like Herschel, but luckily it's not. It's the whole like, is it him? No, it's not. So they kill the walker. Maggie is going to confess to Negan. We don't know if she actually burned the dinosaur, and I think she still has it, but maybe she burned it. She was going to confess to Negan what she was going to do or did. She actually takes out the matches from her pocket. This is actually her finding the beeswax in Negan's bag. She says, like, I have to confess something, or I have to tell you something. And then she sees the beeswax, and then she's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you now. Like, why does it matter? But before, she takes out the matches. And I don't know if she was going to confess that she stole Negan's matches, because Negan asks about his matches when they're in the restaurant, and Maggie lies and says, no, I don't see them. But Maggie gets pissed about the beeswax thing, and, we don't have time for this. She says to Negan when Negan's going to basically tell her what happened with Luther, but they don't have that conversation. Then we see this person playing with a CD, setting up the audio visual stuff inside the arena. And so the Croat knows they're coming to MSG somehow, some way. So maybe there's a spy. But the Croat talks to this person, you know how to do this. And this person is scared of the Croat. And he's like, you don't have to be scared. But then they're talking. Then we hear the whistling. So it's Negan being Negan. And the Croat's like, you heard that, right? So Negan has to, set up a distraction for the Croat. And the Croat takes the bait. So we see Maggie get into a cab, and she's going to like rip down the panel, but the keys are in there, so she doesn't have to do that. As she's going to leave, she looks out the window and she sees Ginny. So again, she was in the cab to take a little stroll around NYC, but she does not because, like I said before, she sees Ginny. So Ginny runs out, doesn't say anything, of course, runs back into the arena, and Maggie's like, Ginny, get back here. Ginny. And so this takes Maggie and everybody back into the arena because that's where the fight and the battle goes. She leaves her tool here, what she was going to actually use to start the cab. Negan finds the same cab, sees the tool, gets in the cab, then actually leaves. We see a countdown of what we're not sure exactly what it is at the time, but it's the audio, visual lights, the music that's playing. We see a candle that's burning, And I don't know if there's a fuse in the candle because the candle would just drip wax down. But more on that in a second. Maggie finds Ginny. We see that the Croats people are all getting in vehicles and they actually leave the area. We see the countdown goes down to 0 and that sets off the lights and the sounds and just the music playing, and it's some different music that I don't know. But like I said, I don't know if the candle has a fuse in it because it goes and burns down pretty quick, blows up the barrel that it's on. There's walkers all around, and we see that there's a couple different barrels around the entrances to MSG, and that's how the walkers get in. They could have just opened up the doors from a distance or pulled open the doors, but I don't know. Either way, they blow it up and the walkers get inside. So Maggie and the tribe or that's Tommaso's people, is Eli Jornet, the showrunner, calls these people the tribe. So we see Amaya, Tommaso, Maggie, and Ginny. And they're the only people that survive besides Negan and Armstrong and the Croat. But the rest of the tribe die. The walkers come pouring in to MSG and they get surrounded by the walkers. Like I said, the rest of the tribe people, like a guy, a girl, the other lady that found the dinosaur stuffed animal thing, they all get swarmed by walkers, and I'm guessing they die because we don't see them in the episode later on. But all the walkers come pouring in, and then we see that the Croat goes after Negan, goes up all these steps and sees Negan and keeps going and going, goes up to the top of MSG. But Ginny is in the octagon. Maggie goes in there. So does Amaya and the lady who found the dinosaur stuffed animal. They get surrounded by the walkers. They kill the walkers through the fence a little bit. Maggie comes up with the idea to take off the padding to use it as a shield, like they did on The Walking Dead when they were at Oceanside and, of course, at Hilltop when they were battling the walkers. Reminds me a lot of that. But they eventually get out of the octagon. The Croat takes his people to go after Negan, and they find each other at the top, like, walkway thing inside MSG. So more on that later. But again, all these walkers come pouring in, and there's like so many of them. Like, it's a big fight sequence battle thing. Tommaso gets swarmed, but then comes back to save Amaya. And like I said, those people survive at the end of the episode. Now, the big thing here is the showdown with the Croat and Negan. And so the Croat is on one platform, Negan's down below. Negan has a weapon, and so is the Croat. And they talk. And the Croat is actually happy to see Negan. The Croat's putting on a show and is like, I heard about the bank and I heard about this. And he knows all the stuff that happened with the widow and Hilltop and Alexandria and the war and all this stuff. So the Croat knows all these different things, which is kind of crazy. But he's happy to see Negan, which is interesting. He's putting on a show. He's like, this can be our new sanctuary. We have a new place. We can run the island. We can have all these things. I don't care that you took my ear off. I have another one. And again, he's like genuinely happy to see Negan. And Negan's like, you're crazy. I'm not here for that. I'm here for... And we think that the Croat's going to bring out Herschel. But instead, he brings out Armstrong. So basically the Croat's like, look, here is the man that's trying to kill you or capture you or take you in. And the Croat throws him over the railing. But he grabs the railing somehow, and Negan saves him. And the Croat looks on, and he's like, what the? He can't believe what he's seeing. He's like, what are you doing? And the Croat shoots Armstrong in the leg with the weapon that the tribe had, that little like retractable grappling hook thing. So Armstrong gets shot in the leg as Negan is helping him up. Armstrong rips out the thing, and Negan and Armstrong hobble away down the walkway. And like I said, the Croat shoots him in the leg, and the Croat can't believe it. But Negan saving Armstrong here is most likely going to be what makes Armstrong let Negan go. But like I said, Negan clearly saves Armstrong and they go away. They actually just walk right out the doors that exploded at MSG and they just go to this, I guess, pharmacy. So Negan saves Armstrong. Negan puts his weapon down. He looks at the door and he's like, okay, I think we bought some time. So what do you think happens? Armstrong picks up the gun and points it at Negan. It says, section blah, 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 says that you're going to die ×5 because Negan killed 5 people. And Armstrong points his gun at Negan, and Negan's like, you gotta be kidding me. And that's how this ends. But I think Armstrong is going to also say next episode, but you saved a New Babylon Marshal, which is going to wipe your slate clean. So I would assume that's going to happen, but we don't know that just yet. Then we see Tommaso, Amaya, Maggie, and Ginny in this room. They push this thing in the front of the door as the walkers are trying to get in. How are we going to get out of here? They see a sign that says, warning, sewer pipeline. So they all walk down the platform, and this is how the episode, or the steps, and they go down into the sewers. They're worried about the methane and the walkers, or the fleshies, and that's how the episode ends. So overall, it's a good episode, a decent episode. It was really cool to see Simon. What did you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Support the PT channel when you can in any way, shape, or form. We truly appreciate all love and support. Stay safe, and as always, tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you.